Welcome everyone to the 19th episode of QCast. I am your host Glory, and today I am joined not by Cringey and Rocky because they'd apparently rather play Ghost Recon Wildlands to be here. But I am joined by Pengo 1998 from Nexion Armada. Pengo, how you doing? While I'm editing this host list.
Alive.
Well, I mean, since you weren't here last week for our glorious return that didn't turn out to be so glorious, that's also, yeah. And we also have a special guest here today, Technics, what's your position again in GLSU?
I'm the head of the Department of Infrastructure.
Yeah, that. He's also here. So, how you doing, Technics?
Doing well.
That's good. All right, so we got an interesting keycast for you guys today, even though that we're still technically down a man from the normal 4. Hold on, I'm gonna turn down my mic audio a little bit. I think it's a little bit too high, so I'm gonna turn it down. All right, okay. Where was I? So, first topic of discussion is when was this released? This was released 3 days ago. The Nova Quark just decided to release the Outposts contest video showing off a lot of the constructs that were made during the pre-alpha. So, and since they did it in video form, I thought I'd, share the video with you guys, even though I'm guessing most of you guys have already seen it. But sure, why not watch it already? So, yeah, I'm gonna let you watch it. And yeah, enjoy this 1 minute and 30-second video.
I'm excited.
I know, right? All right. So yeah, that's pretty cool, right? We got to see some stuff from good old Dual Universe, the game that we're all here for, and to see basically kind of like everything going on in the community. So basically, they showed off the 3 winners, and the nice thing is that they actually showed off, at least what they're saying is, a new experimental engine rendering. So, maybe they're working on their rendering a little bit, so that's nice. But yeah, they show off the 3 winners, of course. Subjective Drive Yards, as we covered last week, they won with their amazing outpost. It's beautiful. Then they show off the inside, so that's super nice, of course. We get a lot more of like a view of what it looks like than we did in the forum post, so that's kind of nice. You see second place Tango Lima, and then third place we got to see wrong thing. Hold up, I'm great at this. All right, we got to see Hyperion's space station, so that's super cool. Didn't see a GLSU building. Looks a glory. No comment. And then we see a bunch of other constructs. What are your guys' favorites? Hang on, Technics.
The objective drive yards really stands out. The our project rocketry looks really good.
What time is that at? Do you know?
I was just seeing it and was failing to read the name. One second.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Profit Rocket Foundry. That
yeah.
one
That
built into
that
the
one
sun.
looks nice. Yeah, that one looks really nice. My personal favorite is I do like Profit Rocket Foundry, especially kind of the way they kind of built into this canyon here, and I really like where is it? It was a good one here. Yes, I like too far. I like Eliza 24's construct. It looks like a giant ass office building, and it looks like beautiful in my opinion. So, yeah, very nice. Pengo, what's your favorite that you've seen?
I really like the Galileo Gemina.
What time
It
is
had
it?
the like radio telescope. That's around 40 seconds.
40.
I think Oliva's construct.
Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah, that was second place. They did
Although
really good.
Lone Wolf Builder, I did Elisa 24's construct. I do kind of like that. It looks sort of like a
Yeah.
modern day high-rise building.
Yeah, that one looks really good. That one's probably one of my favorites. So yeah, that was cool. Nice little video, kind of let the entire community see, a little bit of just feed into their content addiction for Dual Universe, since no one can make anything on the game yet because of NDAs, because those are fun, right?
Plus, it also kind of gives an idea of what's possible as far as constructions go.
Yeah,
It's a great endorsement for all of the organizations that were featured in the video, because it shows off that they were able to put a plan together, work on it as a team, and really come up with some stellar results.
Yeah, they did really good. Yeah, especially, objective drive yards in them. It shows that they're, not just like some fake ass organization. Like, they can work together and look at what they can accomplish. So, yeah. That was a really nice thing to look at. So, yeah. So that's the first thing. Now on to the shit show, shall we? This, as we covered last week, Dual Universe decided to, the Nova Quark devs decided to do another event. The Outpost thing was a contest, but this is just an event. And it was to build the first city, right? And basically, a little while later, they came out and publicly announced that the city event was canceled. So I'm going to read the forum post in full here, and then we're going to talk about it. Because, yeah. Alright, hi guys! The weekend test that occurred on Saturday, April the 7th, showed that the community is creative. Not that we had any doubts. If you took a look here at the recent Outpost contest too, as an example. It was a lot of fun, and as expected, it was a bit hectic. That was kind of the point though, just beyond giving a simple goal to the pre-alpha testers. We were curious to see players' behavior, and of course, but also to perform a technical test too. That ended up stressing this old R0.8 version of the game beyond reasonable, and it's currently hard to continue building in good conditions in the dedicated zone. We have around 412 constructs as of posting this message, and some customized Lua scripted ones are responsible for lowering performances for many players. And then they show off a little bit of a picture of all the different constructs going all over the place. So that's kind of, yeah, that looks fun.
So,
what?
So they said Lua scripted one. So this means that they do have at least some of the Lua stuff implemented then.
Yes. This old version of the game, this old version of the game is, of course, not as optimized as it would be ideal. The game is still in pre-alpha, and that's to be expected at this development stage. As the next pre-alpha test will happen tomorrow, April 12th, and let's be honest, this came out before the April 12th test. And let's be honest, performances are not going to get any better with even more constructs being added. We have to cancel the event. In consequence, we'd kindly ask our pre-alpha testers to avoid the coordinates and surrounding tiles for a better gaming experience. If the pre-alpha testers had any issue to reconnect, and they basically go on and say, you know, basically the saying like, if there's any issues, you know, contact support and all that good stuff. And in any case, data collected are of a tremendous help, and we already planned the necessary improvements for future versions of the game. Some of them should be available in the next R0.10 build, and we're working hard to make sure that things will be running correctly, at least at 30 FPS for the Alpha 1. Talking about the next, and then they promote the next build that we talked about last week, and then they, you know, say thank you for all the help. We're sorry, but thank you all the same. And you know, yeah. So that was kind of fun to look at, but yeah, me and Technics really can't talk about it because we're both in the pre-alpha, so we're under NDA. That's why he's not in the pre-alpha, so he was like, oh wait, they have Lewis stuff active. Like, yeah, they do. But so yeah. And I mean, they said that before, like you can script stuff. And they showed off that in pre-alpha tutorials and everything. So I mean, that's not like some like massive anti-NDA secret, but you know, still, yeah, there's Lewis stuff in there, and it's good that they know that that's at least the problem, at least what they're saying. So yeah. So I mean, we'll see where it goes. I mean, just kind of something that happened in the community and in development and stuff. I mean, there's nothing really much else to say about it. We just, yeah, it happened, and move onward. Onward and upward in life.
Yeah, you can see from the screenshot how an event at that speed was really rather chaotic.
Yeah.
Anything that happens more naturally throughout the course of the game, you can imagine there'll be more city planning.
I love that.
At least, like, once you've built a main road, people will build around it, etc. Where some of those buildings look as if they're a little too close to fit between.
Mm-hmm. And another good thing is that, okay, this is not going to load. Thank you, forums. Okay, another good thing is that this is kind of like a good test for Nogurt, because, you know, they have been kind of trying to promote building cities, right? And it's good for them to kind of see, like, hey, this is a bit of a shit show right now. Maybe we need to kind of work on things. So it's, you know, it's good to see that they're, you know, trying to at least kind of foster this stuff. Even if they didn't really, like, even if the intentions were not to really test, it was just kind of as a good thing, and this was just kind of a side effect. You know, it's good to see that at least we can still put a good light on it, even though it kind of ended up just being a shit show. So yeah, I don't know, what else can we say? That's about it. Yeah. NDAs are fun. All right, moving onward. What's the next thing I wanted to talk about? Oh yeah. So this happened while I was out on my own break for my personal reasons. Nova Quark started doing these community spotlights, and I think the first one they did was Aetherios, right? Or he used to be Aetherios. I don't know what his new name is, but he's leader of the Chimera Trade Exchange, or it used to be the Aether, right? Those peace-loving guys, and now I don't know what they do. Sorry if you're watching this, but you guys are good at confusing me. Like when I'm doing Arc Central, like it seems like all of your members' names are just good at confusing me. Like I can't pronounce them correctly. So you guys are good at that. Anyways, so yeah, the second one that they did is Falstaff, my bad. And if you don't know who he is, he's basically one of the creators of Outpost Zebra. And Outpost Zebra is kind of more like, I don't know what to call it. It's like, I guess it's kind of like a forum, but it's not. And it's like, it's just a supplemental piece of it's a supplemental thing for Dual Universe where, you know, you can kind of talk about stuff, right? And there's a lot of cool stuff. Like, I don't look at this enough, and I really should look at it a lot more. Because I'm sure there's a lot of interesting stuff on here. I got super busy, and then with me and my break, because I was originally supposed to post editorials on here, and then some things happened, and apparently it was just a glitch with my own account. Like, false staff messaged me and saying, like, hey, it was just a problem with your own account, and I had to fix it. And I was like, okay. I just never got around to it. I honestly should try and make editorials again, but I just never got around to it. So, yeah, I went through and read kind of the entirety of the community spotlight that they did. But yeah, he's honestly, it's a good article. I mean, it's a good, well, not article, but interview. And it's kind of a good thing to kind of read through if, you know, you ever got time, you know, take a read of it. And yeah, nothing else really to say about it again, but it's just kind of more or less good article. And also check out Outpost Zebra. I think I actually forgot to leave this link in the description, so I'll have to work on that after the fact. I'll also have to take Cringey and Rocky's.
All right.
What?
Fix the chat. I cannot link things.
Oh.
Or you probably could just add us as moderators, and then we should be able to link things.
I think you were supposed to help me with that a long time ago, and we never got around to it. Because I don't know how, I'd have to change it in the settings, I think, and I didn't bother to look. So, sorry. We'll work on that later. All right. So, anyone have anything else to add on that whole thing before we move on to?
Fantastic website. Ours will be better.
Yes, it will be.
Well, I mean, you guys are the ones. You guys are the primary workers on that. So, I mean,
Well,
yeah.
at this point, he's handling the website because I don't have a whole lot of time to go.
Yeah,
do
but
the
you're
second
handling
website.
the last part of the
Yeah,
website.
I'll be handling
Don't
our
worry.
internal tools for the most part, like your desktop apps
So yeah.
and some of our website interaction stuff for uploading things.
So yeah, these two are making a website, and yeah, that's cool. Not gonna be one of those Wix sites, you know, or like made with like GoDaddy or something like that. This is gonna be authentic. This is gonna be made in-house, no copies. Because that's how
I might actually start on that program soon.
Anyways,
GoDaddy's mostly a domain host. I think they do have a website creator, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
they
think
do.
there's another,
I
It's
just don't
separate.
know. Yeah, I don't know. I know that it's something to do with that, so I'm just like, it works. Close enough. All right, so let's move onward now to the main thing that I wanted to talk about today, is that these two articles came up recently, and they kind of interest me because now with the new thing for with the new build coming out with the market mechanics, I feel like it's kind of good to kind of discuss this again, because even though I doubt that stock markets and, you know, economic depressions will be a part of this, I mean, it's kind of something interesting to discuss because of the fact that, you know, eventually, if Nova Quark adds that in, like adds in the ability for you know, users to buy stocks in a company, like that would be interesting. I'm not sure if it would be good, but it would be interesting. And Pango and Technics both are kind of, well, Pango wanted to talk about this, and when I mentioned it, he was like, yeah, I want to talk about this. And then Technics is a market guy. Like, before he came into GLSU, his own organization kind of, you know, wanted to make markets and stuff like that. So I thought it would be kind of cool to, you know, talk about this with you guys. So I want to get your guys' opinion on this stock exchange and economic depression, and if you think it should be added into the game, and just kind of your general opinions on it. So one of you guys can go first. I don't care. I'll let you go.
All right, well, where should we begin? I mean, for the depression, I think you're being a little optimistic, thinking that it's not likely. World of Warcraft actually keeps multiple economists on staff, where their job is to try and maintain the economy so that it will remain playable and fun, and perform market manipulations, essentially. So without Norva Cork stepping in and doing the same, we could easily see all kinds of market manipulations and supply shortages that lead to all kinds of strange economic events without a lot of question.
Pango?
I come from EVE Online, so EVE Online has an open market, so almost completely controlled player market, and I can tell you now, it is definitely going to have a depression at some point. Large enough battle happens, that market's going to go down. Because you're going to have mass amounts of buying with very little, and depending on how good the supply is, there may not be enough supply to keep up demand, so prices will skyrocket. That's what happened in EVE Online after, I think, it was the Battle of Btakar, and that was, I think, 2-3 years ago now, and the market is still horrible.
I'm not an EVE player, so I don't know.
Oh, so in EVE Online, too, I mean, they keep economists as well on staff, and if it gets bad enough, they will try to stabilize certain commodities using confiscated items that were taken off of players who were using illegal software to give them an edge and such. So people who are botting to mine, they would take all those minerals off. You know, when they banned the account, they would take all the minerals off and put them on a dev account, which can then be used to help stabilize the market in the event of something serious happening. In fact, one of the commodities that they tried to stabilize at one point was Plex, which you could use to pay for your game time with in-game money.
Similar to how
they
DAX
started
kind of do.
Yeah, it basically is DAC. They basically dumped a bunch of it in there to try to stabilize it, because at the time it was going up quickly. Like, it went from only a few, like 400 million to like 600 million overnight. So 50% increase overnight. And they decided to start dumping some of it into the market. Well, it stabilized it for a few hours, and then it just kept rising. So now it's like 1.8 billion per account a month instead of only 400 million.
Damn.
So definitely going to have a depression at some point. It's just a matter of when, and whether and how people will react to certain events.
And I haven't played either, but isn't it true that like the market buildings and such themselves, those are all protected structures, whereas dual universe, they'll be potentially vulnerable if a major market actually was to be put under siege and destroyed. The implications of that could be quite great as well.
Well, in EVE Online, the buildings themselves are protected. However, it is still possible to destroy people entering and leaving the system, or a surprisingly small amount.
Everyone hostage in that area.
Lock it down. Kind of. So you can have a freighter that's coming in with, say, 20 billion ISK worth of cargo. And then you have, a group of, say, 50 people in ships that are only valued at about $1 million apiece. So you're only talking about 50 million ISK used to destroy 20 billion worth in market goods. And over the course of a matter of less than a minute. And there goes 20 billion. So it's very easy and very cheap in EVE Online, at least, to sort of, still put the market system under siege. You can't destroy the buildings, but you can destroy the commodities. Well, at least the commodities coming in and leaving. Obviously, you can't destroy the commodities in the station since the station is protected. But
that's another thing that you just brought up. Like, if there was kind of a thing where where a crash, like an economic crash of the stock market, could possibly happen, would it be good of the Nova Cork devs to like step in and try and stabilize it? What do you guys? Do you think it would be good of them, or do you think they should just kind of let it play its course?
That'll be up to them. If they take actions, they can stabilize things. They have much more power than any real-world government would have, since they can just make materials or money appear or disappear from the system at whim. Additionally, it would be a commodity market crash. If there were... It's very possible that stocks will end up in the game, to get to our other topic. Since that is essentially just having a company say, I'm going to let you invest this much money for this much ownership. and contracts will make it into the game in some way, they've said. So as long as the mechanics are in place, those will likely end up. And then a stock market is just a marketplace where that's more easy to buy and sell the ownership of those different companies. Yeah. And so if that gets added in as well, that becomes trickier to stabilize because there are some implications of that. You're destroying commodities. They're almost exclusively player owned in some sense. And so manipulating that would be harder. It's a complicated topic. I don't think we'll get to the point that there's a stock market, but there may well be stocks.
Well, EVE Online, see, if they're going to, there's two different ways they could handle this. So in the event of a crash, they could, actually there's technically more ways, but so the way I see it, they can either choose to interfere with the market when need arises, or they can choose not to. If they choose to do it, there's two different ways they could go about it. They could either create the items out of nothing, or they can, or whenever they ban accounts, they can, for using illegal software, breaking the terms of service and whatever else, they could then use the materials on those accounts, confiscate them, ones that are not obviously put into a building that someone might be using. Depending on the situation, though, too. Sometimes they might actually decide to take down buildings if they're built out of illegally obtained materials. But they could take those materials and then use those to put back in the market. This way, they're not creating more materials other than what's already supposed to be there. So they're not really adding anything to the market as far as increased supply so much, because the supply was already there if they already got mined it up or whatever. But so that's the way that EVE Online has taken their route, is they use confiscated materials. They try not to actually create more materials unless absolutely necessary. I think if they are going to do it, I think the best way to do it, this way it maintains a high level of player controlled aspect to it, would be to use the confiscated material approach. But either approach would work, and even then though, for a player controlled economy, usually it's best to only interfere when it's so bad that it could cost people to leave the game. Specifically, when you talk about DAX and DAC prices and such, because generally you want things like that to be a little bit more. You want those to generally be a little bit more controlled, because you want to make sure that you can keep people in the game. You don't want people leaving because it's too expensive for them to keep accounts running because someone bought those DACs. So someone already paid for that game time. It's just it's just going to someone different than who paid it. So if they're not able, if DACs aren't selling in game, they're not going to sell on the site for people to sell in game, which means they're going to have reduced DACs being bought, which means less money for them. So it's in their best interest to, at the very least, try to control the DAC prices at least somewhat.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the one thing that they're going to have to watch with that, because that's the only one that really kind of has real world implications.
Yeah, early on I see DAC prices are probably going to be a bit insane unless they stock the market initially with some at a reasonable price. So,
well, in complete honesty, I don't think it will be, because remember, look at how many people are going to have DACs because of the fact that they are founders and supporters.
But how many of those people are actually going to sell them rather than use them, though, too, is the question.
I think quite a few people will end up using them for a quick burst in
and if income. You can get, and here's the thing, though, too. If you could get $5 million for it or $5 billion for it, which one would you take?
True. We'll see. It's
the first one on the market will drive the price. That's the way it works. The first one on the market will drive the price. It is possible that some people will massively undercut them to get theirs sold faster, but I don't see it being there by a whole lot. Although, depending on who all decides to sell, we could see some reasonably priced ones that are thrown up.
Yeah.
It just depends on who decides to sell to. Because there are some people out there who would be willing to, sell it for much cheaper than what, they could otherwise put it up for. But at the same time, if someone puts it down cheap and someone's already sold one much higher, chances are they're just going to buy up the cheaper ones and re-put them back on the market for a lot more, so they can make more money.
And has it even been made clear to us how players will get money? So they'll go out, they'll collect materials, they can sell them to other players, but those players don't have money yet either. Where does the initial money come from? I forget.
NPCs, they're going to add them in to stabilize the market, to create and stabilize their markets at the beginning, and then
that's right. Them. I forgot they were adding those. So they are going to do something like that. Okay, so that will stabilize the market initially until it gets on its running then. I forgot they were doing that.
Mm-hmm.
JC tends to talk a pretty libertarian game about the world he's building, but I think that it'll be harder to phase those out than it sounds because, they're going to be providing a very valuable service.
True.
It really protects mostly the casual player, and you want to protect them.
Well, to an extent, EVE Online still uses market bots for some things. Like you can buy, so they're not. I wouldn't exactly call them market bots. They don't exactly do anything. All they do is basically put things on the market for set prices in certain locations, and it's only certain items. So, for instance, original blueprints, which you can use to create Tech 2 stuff as well as Tech 1 variants and upgrade them and researching, do all that sort of stuff used in industrial and construction of ships and such. Pretty much all of them you can, including skill books as well, you can buy them from an NPC vendor, and they're always going to be the cheapest price. They just keep the bots out of, say, like the major trade hubs. This way, the major trade hubs, people can first off make a profit by buying, say, 20 of these blueprints originals from an NPC shop for, say, 25,000 each, and then resell them at the hub, or at the main hub, for 30,000 each.
Yeah.
So even though, like, for instance, Online has bots, there's not very many of. I mean, like, there's not many of them to where the point where they're actually controlling the pricing. I mean, they are to an extent. They're keeping them from getting ridiculous because these are common things that, for the most part, are pretty much worthless. Until you get to larger ones, then they get expensive.
Well, that's another way Novacore can kind of control the economy if they wanted to. Just add in, just if necessary, like if things are getting too out of control, just add in bots with cheaper things, and then people will have to drive down their prices, and it's a way.
Yeah, but at that point, we're not really talking about a player-controlled market then.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. This stuff, even with markets, markets are still up in the air. That's the one thing that I think is, that and combat are just no clue how it's gonna work, and I think that it's still going to change quite a bit, and I think that whatever is going to come out is going to be very interesting because of the fact that it could be very complex, it could be very simple. I mean, it's just going to be interesting to kind of follow where Novacore goes with this kind of stuff, and yeah. that's about it. Anything else to add before we go on to our special topic that I just came up with? Well, not really just came up with, but the one that I just decided to add in at last minute.
No, we haven't exactly gone over much of. Well, I do have some things I could say in stock market, and I agree that there's more than likely not going to be a stock exchange. It's much more likely going to be you invest in me and we'll give you this much money back out over this period or something like that. Right. That much I could definitely see. Especially, it would be useful for the groups such as the people who are manufacturing ships and such. Those groups could be the ones to really benefit from that stuff. But yeah, I don't really see an actual proper stock market. So I don't think there's gonna. We will have it, but it's not going to be a market. It's just going to be you invest in me, I'll give you this much.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the last thing. Our when I came up with the document for JudgeCast yesterday, this was the possible discussion topic, just if we had enough time. So, in case you did not see this, the lead guy at Novacore, the lead guy, the founder and maker of Dual Universe, our Lord and Savior, JC Bailly, he made an article on Medium a while back. This was March 27th, and it basically kind of talked about, this was basically right before Ready Player One came out, and he was kind of talking about how the Oasis. If you don't know anything about Ready Player One, the Oasis is basically the video game in Ready Player One, the MMO in it. And basically they're saying, like, he's saying how the technology is getting there where the Oasis from Ready Player One can soon actually be real and not just fiction. So, you know, granted, I think Ernest Cline originally said that the Oasis came out in 2014. So, I mean, they're a couple years off. But, I mean, good enough, right? Good enough.
If they really want to get to that point, they'll need to do some serious work in getting VR implemented then.
Yeah, true. Just a quick question. Technics Penga, did you both read the book or see the movie, or both?
No, so don't ruin it.
Read the book, read the article, didn't see the movie.
Okay.
Don't ruin it.
Have you
seen none of it?
You have not read the book or seen the movie?
No, I have not.
Okay, then I will try my best not to spoil it.
I will comfort you if you do.
Basically, it's going to be interesting. I do think that they're getting there, you know, especially if they add in VR support, you know, that'd be amazing, right? But, I mean, he basically kind of goes over the technological challenges and kind of talks about how servers and everything and how you need a fully editable world and like millions of players on the same server, you know, boundless playground. But the thing that I actually wanted to kind of talk about out of this was the player attractors, as JC liked to call it, because that was kind of the thing that kind of interested me the most, because, you know, you kind of see a lot of people, especially in the YouTube comments, really kind of asking, like, why not just be able to go off on your own? Like, you know, like, this kind of just seems like Minecraft, you know, you can go off on your own, do anything you want, and, you know, not have to worry about this. But I mean, I think in reality, that's going to be very hard to do. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but in my genuine opinion, I think it's a good thing that you can't just go off on your own and try and be a one-man army, because it's not feasible, you know? You need to kind of have interaction, especially, like, in almost anything. Like, teamwork is needed, and teamwork is key, so it's kind of like, I think it's good the fact that they're trying to, you know, promote, either, you know, kind of, I don't know how to put it, but like they're promoting good things and bad things. Like, they're promoting how, you know, you can kind of all get together and work together on a huge project, or you can all get together and fight over some resources, you know? You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to get, like, your guys' opinion on it, because, like, we kind of, even though it's kind of been discussed a lot, how there's a lot of opportunity for everyone to kind of do what they want. Like, you can, you know, be an explorer, you can, you know, just build, you can do a little bit of everything, you can just fight, you know. It's like, I feel like it's still a good thing to kind of talk about, because of the fact that in this article, which, by the way, JC, if you ever watch this, it's a very good article, by the way. So, yeah, totally not trying to, you know, suck up to the man or anything, but, you know, it is very good, I will admit. This was the first article I read from him. He made another one a while back about, like, I think it was titled, like, Why AI Needs a Body. I didn't bother to read that one because I was honest, I'm not genuinely interested in AI. You know, I'm one of those big people that thinks that robots are going to take over the world and shit. But in all seriousness, though, it just didn't really pique my interest. But this one, actually, I'm really glad that I decided to sit down and read it, because it was very good. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to see, Technics, if you read the entire article, was there anything interesting that kind of, you know, interested you?
Oh, I mean, it's well written. It shows that he's thought it through because he is sort of that is what he's trying to build to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Not the VR components, which are much more advanced in the book than our modern VR.
Yeah.
But speaking to the sort of gameplay and the socialization, I think that it is a game that's going to allow people to do whatever they want, and that's sort of how that will be possible. If you want to be able to explore or build or do this or that, the only reason you're going to be able to step into this world and experience those things is because of the fact that those jobs will need to be done by all the people who don't want to do any particular job will need people to do it, because it just won't be feasible to do everything yourself. As you said, not only the time constraints to get everything done, but one of the big things about Minecraft and the way the world generates is that there's some of each resource in every chunk, essentially.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to that, but most of the necessary resources, there's at least a few of them in every single 16 by 16 square. And so you never have to go that far. That's certainly not going to hold true for Dual Universe, where some resources will need to be transported long distances. And it will force people to work together and to create the sort of roles that will let people work out. And I think it's a good plan. We'll see how it works in practice, though.
Yeah. Pango, what are your opinions on kind of the entire thing that we were kind of talking about? Great opinion.
Yeah. I was just sorry. You were talking about the like practicality of solo play and such, or teamwork and what?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make sure I got that right.
I mean, just anything with kind of that, with like jobs and everything, just kind of anything, really.
I mean, I think it's possible you could go off on your own. You're definitely not going to be able to fight off an army unless you're extremely good at flying a ship.
True.
I mean, because if you're good enough, you might be able to actually fend off an entire fleet if that fleet sucks.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be doing anything too major if you're solo.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens, you know. I honestly think that, especially with like interaction and kind of stuff like that, I think you're definitely going to see a lot more of it once we head into alpha and with the NDA being down, because then, you know, we're kind of able to talk about it. We're kind of able to talk about everything freely, and you know, we won't be worried about it. You know, kind of people stabbing us in the back and saying, "Hey, he leaked NDA stuff," or like, "Hey, you know, you're stupid." You know, like it just kind of. I think right now the main limiting factor is just kind of, you know, stuff like that. So I think you'll kind of start to see, especially with like content creation stuff, and that's kind of more kind of a segue into just kind of stuff like that. Like, I think you'll definitely start to see some real improvements in the community overall with like working on together on projects and everything like that, with like inter-organization communication. I think you'll definitely start to see better stuff like that once we, you know, get into alpha. So, you know.
Yeah, it'll definitely be nice to speak a little more freely. But speaking to what Pango was saying, I don't think you should underestimate what people will be able to do on their own. I think that there will certainly be some people who rise to some pretty heroic status by achieving things that are quite destructive or creative all on their own, but they'll likely not have mined all of their own fuel and then built their own ship and then, you know, done every stage of that. They'll have done their role and it'll have gone quite brilliantly for the best of them, but they'll have relied on the community for certain parts to get there without having spent their entire life working their way up through the one age at a time.
I'm sure. And I'm sure that if someone like that rises through, like, say if someone was able to do that, like go through an entire fleet, defeat an entire fleet, you know, I'm sure the organizations, like the big organizations at that time, will be very, you know, be very interested in trying to recruit him to, you know, be in their militaries and shit to, you know, because who the hell wouldn't want a pilot like that?
Yeah, and I mean, we don't know anything about the combat mechanics. No. We're not even sure that NovaQuark does. And that may not be feasible, depending on how those turn out. But I think that sabotage and sort of the ability to like take down constructs and stuff more when people aren't looking than even with the shield mechanics, there'll be sabotage. I think will be a very real thing. It's hard to be sure without knowing more mechanics, but
yeah, you never know. We'll see where everything goes. But yeah, I'll definitely put this link to this article in the description, since it was kind of like an optional topic. I didn't originally put it in there, but I'll definitely make sure to put it in there if any of you people have not. If any of anyone in chat, our 7 people watching right now, thank you.
Any of our dedicated and loyal followers.
Our dedicated followers, yes. Our career's really taking off right now. But in all seriousness, if any of you guys haven't looked at this, I definitely recommend. Another thing that kind of interested me with this, and I actually kind of got the idea when watching the new live stream from Lost Prodigy. He was kind of talking about how, in this article, they were kind of, how JC was kind of talking about No Man's Sky. Where is it? There it is. With, their procedural generation algorithms to try and create, unique planets, but it wasn't like, but they didn't end up being unique. So, it's just kind of like, it kind of interests me because of the fact that I never really kind of thought about bringing that up, but I mean, it shows that JC definitely does not want to become, does not want the game to become like a No Man's Sky with like procedural generation. And I mean, the fact that he is an AI guy and he's talking about how like the AI is just not there yet, I think that kind of, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that kind of gives me a lot more confidence in saying that like this guy knows what he's talking about and not going to screw anything up with that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, if procedural generation is done right, it can actually work it can definitely work. I mean, it's just a matter of doing it right, which, I mean, they kind of completely missed the mark with No Man's Sky and procedural generation because it wasn't really procedurally generated. Mm-hmm. Everything was just pre-made, and pre-made objects that were just randomly put together, and so with varying colors. I mean, they didn't really have anything truly procedurally generated other than maybe the planets, and I'm not even sure if you consider those procedurally generated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they were procedural generated. The buildings and such were not to a level of granularity that people expect.
Yeah. Well, I say that for
the feasibility of doing such a thing in dual universe, especially, and No Man's Sky to some extent, it's very difficult. If you think about Minecraft, it's gone through iteration after iteration where you have to rebuild the world, which isn't an option for these games. And so there's... I like the fact that he at least is just admitting it's not feasible and doesn't plan on doing it, which is a better approach when you don't have the option to iterate the way Minecraft does.
Yeah. Tango, did you see the QCast text channel? Cringey just was like, sorry for not being on for QCast. Our father forced us to do manual labor. I'm sure he did. Ah, dear. All right. Anyways, I'm glad they have an excuse. Apparently, all right.
They'd consider paperwork at manual labor.
I'm sure they consider Ghost Recon Wildlands to be manual labor too. I've never played it, but it sounds like it's kind of a grind. So
I mean, if you want to grind, you can always just go play Warframe.
Yes. All right.
You want to grind? Make some flour.
Okay. Dear. But yeah, we'll see how well NovaQuark does with this, and hopefully this new build definitely is, I think, a sign that they're getting closer and closer to being able to go into alpha. I mean, even in here, JC says that they're going into alpha soon, trademark. So hopefully that is, more soon and not more trademark in soon trademark, but, we'll see,
It's very promising that we've been getting increased test times, etc.
Increased test times, you know, a lot more stuff. So we'll see how well we'll see how well this new build works out, and you know, we'll see where life takes us at this point, and you know, so yeah, that's about it. I think the last thing that can I comment on the music? The music of Dual Universe. You talking about the soundtrack, Brian Tucker? Because you're talking about the soundtrack. I mean, that's been out on SoundCloud since like forever. So I mean, like, actually, I can't. Because I mean, if that's what you're specifically talking about, I mean, I could literally link their SoundCloud account where they literally have all of the, you know, tracks on there. I mean, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that the Dual Universe soundtrack has been out for a long time on SoundCloud. Like, it's been out, like, I think, yeah, so, I mean, that can be discussed, but, so yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about the music, I mean, sure, go on ahead, Brian. I won't stop you, because that's been out on SoundCloud. It's public knowledge. But anyways, of course, Dual Universe for Saturday. This has become a tradition for them of Screenshot Saturday. They released a new screenshot of, you know, Dual Universe of the game. Pre-alpha endering. Productivism. I like that one, Kurok, but I think, honestly, the best two are Cryosleep and Particle Horizon. Those are names of tracks on the soundtrack, by the way, to anyone who don't know. But yeah, basically, on this screenshot, you can see some people discussing and looks like working on things with this ship on some kind of planetary structure or moon structure with a view of a planet that I cannot name because of NDA reasons in the background. So yeah, and I don't know who made this. I don't know if this is like something that NovaQuark made or if it's community made. I don't know of any organizations.
It looks like it would have been very time consuming for players to have done that, I believe.
I'm
also not sure the rendering would work at this distance if it was player created. I don't know about that, but
I mean that
seems far.
Developers can change it, but we'll see. I just never seen the logo, and I've never heard of anyone named TAF. So it has a name on the NQ website. Can't remember what it is. Oh, okay, sure.
Are we sure it's an A? It could be an R.
Ooh, oh my God, I can't tell now. My life has completely changed. Is it A or is it R? But yeah, regardless, it looks very nice. Those ship designs, though, I think that's definitely built by NovaQuark. That looks like something NovaQuark would do. And not something the community could create. Especially me. I'm not that creative. But it looks very nice all the same. So, you know, regardless, very cool. But I think this was just created by the developers. I don't think that this is anyone creative. I don't think this is player creative. But I could be wrong. So, yeah, I think that's about it for this week. Anyone else? Either of you two have anything to add?
Just that it was a pleasure to be here.
Yes. Technics, we're always glad to have you here as our guest host in case of, you know, Rocky or Cringey don't want to show up again, or if Pengo wants to be out for reasons again. You know, we're always happy to have you here. You know, it's always fun to have you. TAF is from FEC Fringe. Oh, it is? Oh, okay. Apparently, TAF is from Fringe Exoplanet Cartel. Okay. That makes sense.
I'm back.
Oh, were you gone, Pango?
Wow.
Sorry. No, I was seriously asking. I didn't know that you were gone. You didn't say anything.
Yes, I was gone.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know. All right, my bad.
You'll never know.
Yep, exactly. Okay, so Fringe Exoplanet Cartel made this. Okay, well then it is player created. Well, aren't the people over at Fringe Exoplanet Cartel just great at building? Damn, lucky them. Must be nice to be able to build. Meanwhile, over at GLSQ, dear. But yeah, that's about it. So Pengo, since you were gone, do you have anything else to add before we kind of?
Well, I don't know what was being said.
Well, I mean, we were just kind of talking about the new screenshot that Dual Universe, that NovaQuark posted on their Twitter.
Let's see.
For Screenshot Saturday.
I like those ships.
You like them?
Yeah, I like those ships.
To give off a Star Wars Episode 1 vibe, and that's Pengo's favorite.
Of course.
No, I don't like Star Wars.
He's a Star Trek bitch.
Yes, I'm a Trekkie.
Oh, that was another funny thing. I love how in how JC, whenever he talks about in like his articles, he always brings up like people wanting to build the Death Star, right? But I mean, it's like, come on, JC. Like, what about all the Star Trek and like Battlestar Galactica fans? Like, I mean,
you gotta build a Borg cube.
Yeah, Borg cubes. I don't know what those do, but yeah, build them. Or
basically just a giant cube.
Well, I mean, probably easier to build than a Death Star, but hey,
see,
sure.
I want to build a Discovery. I like the Discovery's look.
But come on, Jason. Give the non-Star Wars fans a shot here.
That and the Defiant. Defiant class, and I can't remember what the Discovery was. What class Discovery was.
I don't know because I don't care about Star Trek. I am a Star Wars fan, but
you got to build the Serenity or go home.
Sure.
Yes, I am in full support of this.
Oh dear. All right. Well,
Firefly was a good show. I want it back.
Nathan Fillion is the best actor.
Fair enough. I don't know who that is because I don't know actors. But all right.
I was sure you were gonna say no. It's Nicolas Cage.
Oh, well, I mean,
you strike me as a Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage is obviously a great actor. Obviously.
Don't underestimate the Cage.
I remember like 2 years ago in school, like it was a common thing. It was like common troll because that was the first year we got our school issued laptops. Whenever someone like walked away, like it was a common thing to just like go onto the internet, download a Nicolas Cage, meme, and then just like put it on as their desktop background. That was like that was just like a common joke that we did, or common friend.
That was your local Rickroll.
Yep, that was about it. It was so stupid. That and Donald Trump, of course. Donald Trump memes. Oof. But yeah.
Ooh, it was a crossfield glass. It's a crossfield glass starship. I want one of those built.
You have fun with that.
I will. Just watch. One day you're gonna log on and there's just gonna be a ship in the middle of the city being constructed, and it's gonna be Discovery. It's gonna be a crossfield glass.
I remember this one Nicolas Cage one. You guys know that sun with the face on it from the Teletubbies? They photoshopped Nicolas Cage's face into it.
Oh god.
That was the best one. That was.
There's also Pickles Cage.
Pickles Cage, yes. Oh dear. That was fun. I enjoyed those. But all right. So I guess that's it for this week. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, all 6 of you. Appreciate it. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, maybe Rocky and Cringey will be on there. Ah, yes. Nicolas Cage in the QCast text channel. Thank you, Pengo, for providing that.
You're welcome.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Pleasure to be on here as always. You know, it wasn't as much shade throwing or as much comedy, but it was kind of more or less, you know, just kind of talking more about serious shit. Can you believe that? I
resent that. I'm hilarious.
Obviously.
All right, Zax.
Shut the fuck up. All right.
They said there's no shade being thrown, so
no shade thrown. We threw some shade. I know Kurok loves all the shade throwing, so we threw some more shade. There's infighting at GLSU. Oh my god. Crazy. But yeah. So make sure you guys... Oh. Yes.
Wow. Kurok needs to be castrated now. He says that the Firefly is ugly and that I am optional.
Okay.
His kids could be better. You don't need to castrate him for that.
Jesus Christ. Why? Oh dear. Okay, moving on. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Really helps get our content out there for the entire Dual Universe community to see. You know, and we'll be back next week at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the next episode of JudgeCast, QCast, Drama Glore, whatever we're calling this now. You know, so until then, take it easy, and until next weekend, goodbye. Bye. Bye. My mouse isn't working. Why isn't my... Hold on, I need to replug in my mouse. Fuck. Hold up.
The episode will end in just a moment. Yes. We're having technical difficulties.
Why isn't my mouse working? God damn it. Okay, there we go. I got it now. I got it. Can you guys tell? Oh, wait, wrong thing. I got my mouse working, though. Aren't you guys proud of me? All right, bye, guys.